Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's Hwanseung News for the 3rd of August. How are you doing today? And again, it's another very hot day here in Seoul. We're on 34 degrees and it's going on 5:45. So yeah, these very tropical nights making it hard to sleep for many people, and it seems to be causing some trouble in society. You know, people are getting a bit restless and probably drinking a bit more. So that's something we'll touch on later on in the broadcast tonight. Just a reminder, guys, this is all one take. There's no script. I'm reading straight from my headlines that I've researched and formulating my own opinion based on my experience and contacts in Korea. And the meaning of Hwanseung, if you're just joining us to the channel, is transfer. Hwanseung, transfer between transport, we transfer between companies, we transfer between countries, we transfer money, we transfer knowledge, wealth and information, we transfer property. All these things are related to transfer, okay? And this is why I've called my group the Hwanseung Group, okay? All right, well, let's get into it, guys. The first one here, the number of young civil servants resigning doubles in 2 years. So we'll just have a look at that article here. They are very, very unsatisfied with the low pay that's kind of stagnated over the years. Being a civil servant was quite a desired position because of job security. Of course, you had to study very hard, and there are 9 different levels of qualifications and grades that you attain and progress through in your career. And the pension was quite nice, but it seems to have panned out over the years, and the working conditions are very tough as well. So it's not that kind of glamour job that people were, that young people were hoping for in the past. When I was in headhunting, I worked as a headhunter for 2 years in Korea for not just English instructors, but also general positions such as chemical engineering and computer IT positions there. I often advised my candidates to look for the 3 things in a job. Okay, the first one being job security. Okay, the first one being job security there, and how well that fits with your dream and your career. Okay, is it something that you don't want to worry about in the future? The next one there is, of course, the salary and remuneration, how much you're getting paid for your effort. Okay, and the final one is the relationship with your co-workers, especially your boss. Okay, so you might have a nice job, but the relationship with the person above you might be one of stress, and one that could be causing you a lot of discomfort in your working days there. So I mean, speaking from experience there, I've had good bosses, I've had not so good bosses. I'm not going to delve into that, but there is clearly a difference, and it really does make a difference to your working conditions. I might just add a bonus on there, guys. Transport, the time it takes to get to work and from work, because in Korea, yes, we have a perfect, wonderful public transport system there, but for some people, unfortunately, who live out of Seoul, because of the increased housing costs, they're commuting 1 hour, 1 hour and a half on public transport, or even their cars to go to work. It can really sap you. It can really drain your energy levels. Okay, so again, just to recap there, job security and how well that job fits with your dream. The next one there is your salary and remuneration. And the last one there is the relationship with your boss and your co-workers there. If you can satisfy all 3, that's a really good job. If you've just got 2, you might want to consider perhaps some kind of plan to leave your company, to Hwanseung, to leave your company within the next 2 or 3 years. If it's only 1, then I just suggest getting out, not wasting any more time for that company, because it's just going to cause you pain and affect your emotions. You don't want to be bringing your work baggage home. You don't want to be bringing work stress home. Emotional baggage. Okay, emotional baggage, as the social media comedian likes to say. Okay, well, the next one here, guys, is the Seoul shares snap 4-day winning streak on concerns over the U.S. economy. This was actually predicted by a CNN article on June the 2nd relating to Yellen, who is going to buy back bonds over, at the time it was talked about as $170 billion in buying, selling government bonds. To recover liquidity from the market because of the debt ceiling crisis in the States. And as we saw yesterday, the Korean stock market did take a hit of about 3%. So let's go and have a look at that. And we can see here that the composite stocks did go down, and the won did decline against the US dollar. So it's not surprising. It's very much measuring the 2011 debt ceiling crisis, where after the debts, even though the debt ceiling limit was reached, the U.S. credit rating was subsequently downgraded. Okay, at the time it was, I think it was S&P. Who was it? Not Fitch. This time around it was Fitch. Yeah, at the time the U.S. credit rating was downgraded about 3 weeks after the agreement had reached consensus among Congress, and now we're seeing like the markets going down. So this is probably a good time to really think about investing in the stock market. But there are other naysayers that say it could go down even further. So the next 2 to 3 months is going to be quite turbulent. It's going to be quite turbulent. It could be a good time to buy and sell, wash your stocks, make profits in earnings when you can. But I'll let you be the judge of that. Perhaps I can give you some more information as part of Hwanseung Finance, Hwanseung Gumyung, okay, when I launch that in due time. Okay, guys, the next one here is we're talking about seniors avoiding the heat, the scorching heat, by using the subway. Okay, so this is quite interesting. You may or may not know that seniors in Korea are able to ride the subway for free after they hit 65. It's kind of like the New Zealand Gold Card. And of course, the trains, all the trains here are all air conditioned. Some even have less air conditioning, less cold air conditioning temperatures than others, because some people are very sensitive. But seniors are actually riding these. Some of them may be on the line 2 doing the circle loop all day. Many of them are traveling to Chongno Samga to hang out with their friends. Some of them are even a lot of them actually going to Incheon Airport. They're not there to fly. They're there to enjoy the staff cafeteria actually inside the airport, where you can get a good meal for about 5,000 won, 5 to 6,000 won. That is catering for the staff, and also you've got live entertainment. You've got traditional Korean cultural parades and big LED TV screens that are showing content there. And not to mention, think about it, if you're an old person in Korea over 65, in most cases a lot of them are lonely. Okay, they've worked all their lives to help and serve Korea, make Korea what it is now. And some of them actually, perhaps their partners passed away, or their children have just given up on them because they find it a burden to financially care for them. These guys need to be respected because they really formed the platform for which Korea could develop on. So I really feel that I wish their pension could be increased. It's about 850,000 in general, but I heard the national average is about 650,000. That's about $800 New Zealand. $600 US. So yeah, I mean, who's to blame them? If you are hot, we're not in global warming, guys. We're in global boiling. Would you agree with that? Global boiling. The weather's crazy these days. I mean, what is going on? We had floods in Auckland last year. Auckland Airport was flooded there. This season in Korea, we've had a lot of flooding as well. The earth is hurting, and it is definitely global boiling, which is it's got tremendous effects. Look at the effect it's had on fruit and vegetables in Korea. Damaged crops, or inability to be fertile. The land being fertile there is going to lead to those prices of things increasing, and that in turn contributes to inflationary pressure. Now, in saying that, here is an interesting phenomenon. What's behind Korea's relatively low inflation amid the global surge? Korea was actually the 5th lowest nation in the world among the 38 OECD member countries to have the lowest inflation. Okay, below that was Denmark, Greece, Spain, and Switzerland. So what has the government done differently than other countries, especially the US there? Well, we can see here, guys, what they've done is the policy authorities' efforts to stabilize prices. Household and corporations have shared the burden, refraining from excessive increases in wages and product prices. Okay, there has been pressure. The government actually specifically asked the instant noodle makers to drop their prices, citing that their wheat prices had gone down. Okay, I've been talking about noodles in the last couple of days as well. The Korean Electric Power Corp and Korean Gas Corp were also asked to not increase their prices, because that leads to we have no choice but to consume those utilities. And what can be different from the States and other countries there is there was this term greedflation. Okay, greedflation, the term refers to companies raising prices to take advantage of inflation to boost their profit margins there, blaming it on the Ukraine that our grain sources were limited there, or blaming it on the oil prices from OPEC there. And what they've done is increase their prices, but they have been very, very slow to decrease them. So that's quite nice. Inflation, I believe, we're down on 4.8% in February, down to 4.2 in March, 3.7 in April, 3.3 in May, down to 2.7 in June, probably 2.3 in July. That's really, really awesome there coming. But I do see and I do feel the effect of inflation till now. I enjoy my sushi roll, which we call kimbap in Korea, and you could get a kimbap for 1,000 won back in 2008 when I first came here. Now it's like 4,000 to 5,000 won, almost 300-400% increase. The other thing, guys, is we have shrinkflation. Have a look at this. I'll show you the ways manufacturers carefully trick you there. Okay, it's all right. You can have a look at the Korean definition there, but have a look at this, guys. Some examples of shrinkflation. Okay, there's a good one here. Look at that. They're quick. The bag looks the same, the packaging looks the same, but they're skimming amounts off there. Look at this. Okay, in the 80s, how big a confectionery container was. Look at Toblerone, and look at Pringles. This is all shrinkflation. And this is happening all the time. Look at your 1 liter of milk. Next time you buy a 1 liter carton of milk, is it really 1 liter? It's probably only 900 mils. Look at the 500 mil can of beer from Cloud. Okay, that's not even 500 mils. That's like 430 now. Okay, so yeah, be careful and check the volume, check the quantities. Okay, when you are buying there. But going back to it, well done, bravo on the Korean Bank of Korea and the government authorities for keeping inflation in check. And let's keep that going definitely in the future. All right, last but not least, guys. Okay, we've got here spirits lifted as government permits cut price alcohol in restaurants and supermarkets here. And we can see that, I have mentioned previous times that drinking is quite a fond sipwan, like a habit in Korea. But what the government is now proposing is that they're removing the price. The price that is required for restaurants and bars to sell their alcohol to increase competition. Okay, so for instance, if a restaurant buys a beer at 2,000 won per bottle, they must sell it at a higher price. This move aims to prevent deceptive practices where sellers offers discount, later seek losses from suppliers. What some bars were doing, guys, was selling it at a cheaper price and then claiming that they lost money and claiming it back from their suppliers. Okay, so this is going to also increase competition here. Look at this. For example, establishments are expected to make efforts to offer competitive prices for alcoholic beverages. For example, restaurants may strategically sell beer received at 2,000 won for the same price or even lower to attract customers there. So it opens the way for more competition, more healthy competition, more transparent competition for bars and restaurants there, because I hate paying premiums. I hate paying margins, profit margins and premiums there. I'm always looking at the cost price. Look at the next time you buy a Starbucks coffee. I guarantee you that paper cup and plastic lid is more than the actual water and coffee bean inside. Or if not, maybe the difference is very, very minimal. Look at buying a bottle of soju in Korea at a supermarket for 1,400 won, and it's sold for 4,000 to 5,000 won at a bar and restaurant. That markup is criminal. That markup is terrible. I hate paying it there. In that sense there, look out for when you do go to bars though, because some owners do skimming. You might see a shot glass and you think it's a normal shot, but they're removing 5 to 10 milliliters of liquid there to make their bottle go further. Okay, that also happens there. Look at foam in your sengmekju. Is your sengmekju, how much of it is actually foam? You might think, oh, nice, creamy head, smooth, buduropta, but that's less beer for your belly. I'm not saying that a lot of beer is good for your belly, but you know what I mean. You want, if you're paying 6,000원, 7,000원 for a sengmekju, you want 6,000원 sengmekju value. Okay, guys. Well, thank you for another entertaining talk tonight on Hwanseung News Choice. Okay, Hwanseung News. Again, we transfer our subways, we transfer buses, we transfer companies, we transfer countries, we transfer planes, we transfer money, assets, knowledge, wealth, and insight. Make the transfer, guys. Hwanseung to Hwanseung. Those were our people today. That's Hwanseung tonight.